What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Jay Rich, back to bring you your MLB props for June the 9th. Yesterday was an incomplete day. You know, one of the things that really ticked me off, Votto getting robbed of a home run by Alek Thomas in the outfield. Spectacular catch. Pretty damn annoying, though, for people who did take Votto. Wilson Contreras, one of my favorite plays, got rained out in Baltimore, and so we didn't get that stack. You know, I talked about Austin Hayes, talked about Contreras, Morale, but, you know, we didn't get much of that. And on top of that, to see Austin Riley and Bryce Harper homer yesterday just hurt my soul. Just hurt my soul. The amount of times I tout a guy one day, and they don't hit, and then the next day they homer. Happened with Yordan Alvarez, happened now Austin Riley, Bryce Harper. Is getting exhausting, frankly. But today we do have a new slate, a new set of games, and some great matchups. I found some really good plays for today, so I do have a quick mix and match for you, and a few guys that are maybe worth playing, but maybe we're fading them. We'll see. There is some tough matchups out there, but let's get into it right now. So the top edge on the slate starts in Philly. You know, you got Kyle Schwarber, Bryce Harper. Then you go to Cincinnati again with Brandon Drury, Tommy Pham, and Joey Votto making the list, along with Jorge Polanco, Randy Arozarena, and Austin Riley, right? Austin Riley is a dude. It's hard to quit him, man. He's been playing so well, 13 points over his last 7 days. He is going to be a core play, but I will get into that at the bottom. Let's start at the top with the Phillies. The main concern is Corbin Burnes. Corbin Burnes did get lit up in his last start. I believe he allowed 4 runs. He didn't pitch very well, but he's still Corbin Burnes, man. That cutter's no joke, man. You don't want to be messing with him. So you see the pitch value factor for both Kyle Schwarber and Bryce Harper is negative, right? Which isn't great. The park factor is fine. The pitch factor for Corbin Burnes is about neutral, mainly because he did get lit up in his last start. You see Schwarber and Harper are extremely hot right now. The issue is they're doing it a lot with the power, right? You see they're not really averaging too many hits per game, about 1 hit per game, which is fine, you know, 250 average, but you want to see a little bit more from some of these guys to really trust them. They are hitting doubles and home runs. You know, you see the total bases up over 2, which is really good, almost a run per game, and in the case of Harper, over an RBI per game with, you know, half an extra base hit for both those guys per game, which is good. You know, half the time they get a hit, it's going for extra bases, and in those boys' cases, it's probably going to be a home run. I mean, we saw Harper hit a home run yesterday. I believe Schwarber hit a home run yesterday or 2 days ago, so they are playing very, very well, and they do have high projections, and the reason why they are worth looking at is because when they're playing against a player like Corbin Burnes, you get these suppressed lines from PrizePicks. You see, for Schwarber, only 5.5. For Harper, 6.5. Schwarber does have a better history versus Corbin Burnes. He hits 286, right? Which is not bad. But, I mean, most of the time, Schwarber's probably going for that home run. He's got 1 home run, couple singles. It's fine, right? It's a small sample, but in baseball, these are the kind of things you have to lean on sometimes because a player is not going to have this 40 at-bat history against a player unless you're looking at Joey Votto versus Zach Davies, which is with his 32 at-bat history. I think I'm fine with Schwarber. I do like the lower total overall. Bryce, I love Bryce, but man, it's tough. Even at 6.5, I just know Corbin Burnes is so damn difficult to play against, man. He's just such a good pitcher. I don't think I'm all in on Schwarber and Harper, but I'd be willing to run that risk. If you want to flex him or you want to play him, I don't mind it overall. So let's get into Brandon Drury, who I do like today. I like him more than Pham. The issue for both these guys is the history. They both don't hit Zach Davies very well, but Zach Davies isn't pitching that well either. And so that's why I think running the risk with Drury is somewhat worth it. You know, you see 11 points over his last 14.5 over his last 7. The biggest thing, though, he's getting on base. Like, he's got over almost 1.5 hits per game over his last 14 days, which I love. I love a player who's getting hits, getting those total bases. You see at 2.5, one of the highest amongst this group. He's scoring over a run per game, kind of getting the RBIs going, and he's doing okay from an extra base hits perspective. We know he can hit a home run. He's not a big home run guy, but he can hit a home run. And in Cincinnati, the ball tends to fly out of there, so I don't hate Brandon Drury at all. Then you get into Tommy Pham, who slightly worse production, but he gets the RBIs because a player like Drury is getting on base ahead of him, right? Which is good to see. But you see the history is still not great. The pitch value does, you know, it's about even for both those guys. At least it's positive. Davies hasn't been pitching his best. and you do get the half-point discount for Pham instead of Drury. For my money, I think I would go after Drury. I think he's a better option. I think he's playing a little bit better. And while he's been getting rested a little bit lately, I think that I would roll with Drury over Pham. I get the point discount, but I think I just like Drury's profile and how he matches up against Zach Davies a little bit better. That's just my take. It's not a slam dunk play, but I think if I was picking one, I would pick Drury personally. Then you get into Jorge Polanco up against Garrett Cole. Basically, I can't really play him. I can't trust him. He's not scoring a ton of runs. He may get an RBI. He's getting over a hit per game, which is good. Almost 2 total bases. Almost 2 total bases still, but I am looking at Randy Arozarena here. So, Polanco against Cole. Cole, Garrett Cole, he's pretty damn good. So, I'm 4.5 points, though, is intriguing. But you see the history, 125. The only time he's got anything off Cole was a home run, which, I'll take it. It's better than not hitting a home run against a guy. But, yeah, it's just one of those things, man. You don't want to mess with Garrett Cole. As much as Polanco's playing pretty well, he's got a super low line on PrizePicks, which is great. I just don't think I can go there with Garrett Cole. He's just too good. Then you get into Randy Arozarena, probably the best hitter right now for the Tampa Bay Rays, 12.83 over his last 7 days, over a hit per game, almost 2 total bases per game, not scoring a lot of runs. He's more so driving in runs of guys ahead of him, and not a ton of extra base hits either. Up against Miles Mikolas, who's pretty good. He's pretty good at limiting hard contact, which is great. He's okay in the strikeout department. He's not going to blow anybody away, but he's still pretty good. And you see Arozarena only has a projection of 5.5. I don't hate it. If you want to flex Arozarena, I think there's value to be had here. We know he can get to 6, and he can get an extra base hit. He's just been mostly slapping singles lately, which is fine. We don't hate that. Production is production, right? He can draw a walk and all these various things, so I don't hate it overall. Projected for 9.7. Nothing crazy, but up against Miles Mikolas, definitely a better matchup than going up against Garrett Cole, as far as I'm concerned. While both have a shot, I think Randy Arozarena has the better shot to go over. And so my 2 core plays that I really, really love, and to be fair, I did stretch this beyond my 70% threshold because they just have great histories, right? You see Joey Votto, who I mentioned, 0.75 extra base hits per game over his last 14 days. Pretty much anytime he hits the ball, he's going for extra bases. Yesterday, he almost hit a home run, but got robbed, and he hit a double. There you go. Extra base hits galore for Joey Votto. When he gets there, he's hitting it deep. He's hitting it to the gaps. That's great for production on PrizePicks. His line is 7, which is pretty high, but he's projected to basically get an RBI. He's probably going to be there for a run. He can draw a walk. There's a lot of reasons to like Votto. He's been playing really, really well. Still batting cleanup in that Cincinnati lineup. And that over-under for today is 10 runs, the highest on the slate. Zach Davies is fine, but he can get beat up a little bit. So they are projecting them to score runs. I believe the over-under run total for the Reds is 5.5, which is great. And we know that if they do hit that over, Votto will probably be some part of that in some form or fashion because he's the cleanup hitter. He's been driving in a lot of runs for the Reds recently, as you can see by his 0.9 per game. Like I said, PrizePicks total of 7. Don't hate it. But in 32 at-bats, you can see he has 2 home runs and 3 RBIs, batting .375 off of Zach Davies, which means he sees him pretty well. There's that familiar history there, and I'd be willing to bet on Joey Votto if it was my money. Then you get into Austin Riley, who the one day I pick him, he doesn't hit, but I'm picking him again today. I'm going back to the well. JT Brewbreaker is fine. He's okay. He's not that great. You do have an 8 total for Austin Riley. I'm projected for 13.28. But the biggest thing here, he's got 2 jacks in 3 at-bats against Brewbreaker, and I'm taking that to the bank. I got Austin Riley to get an RBI. I bet him to hit a home run today. I mean, it's just, again, he's just a really good hitter. He's well over a hit per game, over 3 total bases per game, a run per game, an RBI per game. Same extra base hit production as Joey Votto, actually slightly better. I think this is a great spot for Austin Riley, and I think that he's going to be in a really, really good environment. And the other thing to point out, I was looking at some of the stuff by Kevin Roth earlier today, and I will pull this up since I have it right here. The winds are blowing out to center in Cincinnati, and they're blowing out in Atlanta. So that means we are looking in good shape for overs today in both those ballparks, and these are the guys we're targeting today. So for me, I think this is a great spot I think the best 3 guys on the slate are Brandon Drury, Joey Votto, and Austin Riley, and I would be mixing and matching those guys as core plays. And if you want to throw in a Schwarber, I like it. If you want to throw in a Arozarena, I don't hate it. If you want to just go a full stack and put Pham in there, I don't mind that either. But the 3 guys I really like today, Joey Votto, Austin Riley, and Brandon Drury. I don't mind a Harper, don't mind a Schwarber, but overall, those are the 3 guys I really like today. I think this is a great slate to make some money. Like I mentioned, that high over-under total in Cincinnati, between Cincinnati and Arizona today, is going to be good. I'm hoping they can come through and score some runs. Cincinnati got blanked yesterday, but there's been a ton of runs in this series so far, and I think that's going to continue today with the guys on the mound. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. If you appreciate this video, please drop me a like and subscribe for future content. And as always, if you tail, give them hell, and if we fail, do not bail. This is a data-driven process. I try to give you as much information as possible to make your own decisions and hopefully win you some money. I'll be back tomorrow. I'm out. Peace.